crafty friends, this is Amanda, the Nerdy Krafter. I'm here today to go over one of Pajama Krafter's new releases. This is Honor Valor Pride stamps. It is a super adorable new stamp set that they just came out with, and I'm going to try to do the Craft Roulette challenge. It is a square card, which is not my normal, but since this is such a big stamp, this is actually a 6x6 piece of paper right now, so it is a little bit larger than what I'm used to dealing with. So we're going to just have some fun. We're going to watercolor, have some fun. I might turn some music on a little bit just for some relaxation and enjoyment. So the parameters were a square card. Colors were butterflies, so we'll bring in some nice bright colors, some greens, maybe add some little flowers in here. And then let's see, what were our other elements? I'm gonna have to go back and pull them all. Square card, butterfly, clouds, clouds, and clouds. Oh, and tie. So tied. So I might tie a ribbon on, or we do have like the bank or the tide of this lake here. So I got a couple options for the tide at the very end, but we will see if we can make it work. So again, prompts were square, butterfly colors, clouds, clouds, and clouds for the element. So I'll be adding some clouds in. I did go ahead and die cut some various clouds out that I might put in, or just do my normal watercoloring poofy clouds. And then the last one is tide. So either the bank or the tide of this little lake river here, or I might tie like a bow or something on. We will see. I also have to make a Father's Day card coming up, so this may be a Father's Day card, so we'll try to use it for different things. This is the first time I'm watercoloring today, so I'm going to activate my brush, put my brush in, twirl, 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 make sure I'm getting all of those air pockets out. Once I'm done, make sure I'm removing all that excess water from there. Let's see. I think I'm going to start with the water, so I'm going to bring in two colors for the water. The 565 blue, I'm just going to place it right here on my mat, and the 526 blue. Those are my two favorite blues. We'll be using those for the sky also. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Let's go with the lighter one first. I'm going to just tap into my color. Now this is a new brush that I've been playing with. It's a Deco Earth. So if you're interested in it, I'm going to be utilizing it at a class that I'm teaching in Stamp Away coming up. I'm actually going to do on wet. I think with the water, I just really like the wet on wet look. I like to change my mind. Go figure that. So for wet on wet, I'm just going to get the paper nice and juicy and wet here. You can see I'm dipping in, and this is one of the times when I'm not going to pinch off. And then I'm going to dip in again and just add some water to my palette. And I'm just going to tap it in, and you'll see the water just kind of moves. I did the same technique with the sky, but this should be it's a beautiful image, and it watercolors. I watched Joy use just blenders. So she was doing, I think it was oxides or distress ink the other day, and just blending with this new stamp, and it just came out so beautiful. So I'm just going to come in right where the artist drew the lines in here, and that's where I'm going to anticipate having a little bit additional darkness. So I'm going to add my darker right in there. So this is, I mean, she did it in just a matter of minutes with just some simple blending brushes. The further away you are, the darker we're going to be. The bank might be just a little darker because we've got a little bit of overhang here. Again, with watercolor, the less we think about it and the faster we go, the better the project looks in the end. So we're going to let that settle a little bit. And let's see. Let's grab our greens next. So I'm going to use the 249 is my normal green that I use. But I'm also going to bring in a little of my 177. I don't have that one listed here, but the 177 is just a little bit lighter. And I'm going to go over with the 249. I'm going to pick this up, and I'm just going to tap over my trees. So I'm just going to, it's just a padding or a padding technique. So let me just show you real quick. So you can see I stamped really bad the first time. My Misty moved. So when you're dealing with your brush, so you don't want to stab it. So you're not coming in and stabbing directly in like this. You actually want to go just a little bit more and pat. So it's a pat, pat, pat. So you see there's about a half of a flexion of my brush in there. And that's the technique that I'm going for because it allows me to get some texture and dimension. I can go really quick and fast. As you can see, I'm just tapping in really fast. And I'm just switching between the two colors. Just whichever one my brush picks up. Nothing in nature is perfect. Nothing in nature is just one color. So it's good to have some dimension and texture to it. The thing I do like about the Tombos is that they do have multiple colors. Oh, my ink's not moving. Not because I don't have ink on it, but because I need more water. So yeah, when you find that your color is kind of stagnant, it's not moving when you're tapping it down, it's a couple of different options. One, you don't have any color on your brush, or two, you need more water. So those are kind of your indicators, because I can go for quite a while without needing more water. Now this brush, I do find I have to refill the water just a little bit faster, which actually is not a bad thing. I find some of my other brushes really hold the water for a long time, which means that I'm not, that I have more of a tendency to overwater my project. And I like more of a dry kind of style when I'm watercoloring. So it's a dry, almost a dry brush technique. So, yep, this is, like I said, a new brush. I found it when I was at Creativation, and I've had so much fun playing with it. And I'm trying very hard to see if I can work with a company to bring them in. So if you're interested, give me a holler, let me know. Oh, like that. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to come down here into the grassy areas. Same kind of technique. With this, I'm just going to flick it up. Just mixing those two colors together. So right now, I'm starting off with just the artist drawn lines. I will bring in some ground cover in a little bit, but right now, some days I can flick up, some days I have to drag down. It just depends on what my hand's doing. And if I'm having problems, which I am, flicking up, I'm just gonna rotate my paper to make it work for me. Remember, our paper can move, so move the paper. Don't try to force it. Let me just move this over a little bit, get a little bit more of the light in here. Perfect. Okay. So I'm feeling good with that. And I'm going to test. I have some of my red rubber stamps here from my collection. And I'm going to test this. I want to see how this will look. If I bring this in and I just do a teeny bit of grass. The nice thing I like about these stamps is I can control how much I add. So I'm going to add a little more texture and dimension. I kind of like this. I'm stamping 5 times. I'm just going around where those artist drawn lines are and just adding a little bit more dimension to it, a little more texture. Just a couple more. When I'm teaching a class, I can kind of tell where people are in the class by when the stamp block hits the table. Okay, so I'm going to rotate my mat around so I'm not covering up my my palette over here off to the side. I'm going to pinch my brush off, and then I'm just going to, yes, I like that. Okay. I'm I'm just flicking up where I brought that in. I'm going to ground it out, add a little bit of grounding to it. One of my ultimate favorite stamps. The grass and the flowers, which I might bring a few of the little flowers in a little bit to bring in some of that beautiful butterfly color scheme that we're going with. Although I'm going to have some beautiful skies. I got some gorgeous blues in here. So, I don't know. We may not need it. So I do have a little bit of green back in here in the mountains. So I can just kind of feather in some of the coloring on the mountainside here. I don't want it to all be colored in, but I'm just going to give you some hints of color. We'll probably have some rocks and stuff in the background there. Looks like we got some more grass back in here. Okay. Now, our mountains, I'm going to go ahead and leave them more of a light white color, but really nothing in nature is per se white. So I'm going to do more of a gray color to it. And I have a little cheat sheet over here on my mat. It's a half a line of the 969 brown to 2 lines of the 565. And blending those together will give me a beautiful gray that we use quite often when working with like my art impressions and different blends. So this is one of my favorite blends of all time. So I'm going to pick this up and I'm just going to kind of go around where the artist has his line. Look at that gray. And the texture and dimension in it, because I've added multiple colors, is just breathtaking. And again, I'm just going to tap in where those artist drawn lines are. Those are going to be where the darkest points are, and it just gives it some dimension. It makes it look more three-dimensional. Don't overthink it. Just tap your paper. It's okay to go outside the lines. Watercolor is freeing. Shake out those shoulders. Relax. We're having fun. Yep, looks like I need a little bit more of that. 2 lines of the 565. Half a line of the 969. Grab some water on my brush and blend them together. This one I did get a little more juicy, wet. So I pinch off a little bit of that extra. So when I'm watercoloring, my fingers do start to change a little bit of color. So when I'm holding my paper down, I try not to use these 2 fingers just in case I have any extra ink on them, or else my paper would end up a little inky at the end. I can come in because, you know, even during the summer in most mountainous areas, the top of the mountain is still just a little bit snow-capped. So I can come in and add a little of our white to the snow cap there. And come into the bank here. When I'm grounding out, add a little bit of grounding here. Now, when I'm doing my grounding, what I like to do is almost like a little tornado. So I kind of go back and forth. I'm looking for that back, forth, back, forth, back, forth to give it a little zigzag down. Again, we don't have to color in everything. It's just the illusion. Make our eyes imagine. We just don't want things to be floating in outer space. There's no aliens here. If there's any harsh lines, I just blend them in with my brush. And there we go. So there's the grounding there. Oh, I love this. Okay, let's see. I am thinking I really do want to bring in some little flowers also. So I'm going to pull in this set and I'm going to bring in maybe some purples and some pinks. So I'm going to start with my purple and I'm just going to color in a couple of those little ones. we're just going to add a little bit of color to our project because, again, one of the parameters was butterfly colors. So we're just going to imagine we got some little flowers going on. Could be a little bush. Whatever your imagination makes it out to be. And I love the fact that we can intermingle different stamp sets. That we can pull in other stamps from our collection to just accentuate and add on to sets that we recently purchased. So this is a brand new purchase. It's a new release that just came out. And I'm bringing in some of my red rubber stamps from my collection to just help accentuate it, to give it just a little bit of extra. All right, let's start with that. Now with the flowers, we do something very similar to what we did with the branches on the tree. It's that padding. And I'm going to go back and forth between the colors, not caring if I mix the colors because I love the look of the pink and purple mixed together. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And then if I need a little bit of extra, I can pick some up off my palette and just tap in a little darker. Beautiful. Look at this. Oh my gosh, this makes me just so happy. Okay, now this little one down here is kind of floating a little bit, so I think I'm going to bring some little grass next to him. And I love this saying, for every mountainside lit freedom ring. That is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful song. One of my faves. So grass, I'm just flicking it up. I don't have to hit every little piece, just a few of them. Then I'm going to come in, grab some of the green, and I'm going to ground it out. Ground it out. Ground it out. And I think I used up all my gray, but I do have a little bit of gray on my palette. I have a little palette. The nice thing with watercolors is that when I'm traveling, I can just load up my palette with different colors. And to reactivate them, all I have to do is add a little bit of water and they're reactivated again. Oh, this is so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush really good because I'm going to come into the sky now. And for the sky, again, like I was mentioning earlier, I do like a wet on wet. So I'm just going to come in and blop some water onto my paper. And when I say blop, you may be able to see that little bit of shine on there. Same thing I was mentioning with the ground. It's a hint of color. It does not have to be every single piece. We don't have to color in everything. It's just the illusion. We just need our eyes to imagine that there's a sky, that there's clouds up in the sky. Now I am intending on cutting this down a little bit. I do have a little bit of edge, room on each edge, so maybe coming in, you know, quarter or half an inch. So I will pull a little bit more off the top here. So again, I don't need to go all the way to the very top there either, but I'm going to bring a little bit up here. And I ran out of that 526, which is that light blue. And know, because I've got, this is wet on wet, that these colors will dry back a little bit too. So when they do come to dry back, they're going to dry a little bit lighter than what you're seeing right now. So I'm okay with doing a couple layers and textures on this. I'm going to bring a little bit more of the 565 in. And so like underneath the clouds is where it's going to be darker. The sun's hitting on the top side, so I'm only going to really bring in the 565 in the underside. But the colors will start to blend and level out also. So letting it sit. With watercolor, you really have to let it sit for a little bit, walk away, and then the colors really will settle down and become what they're meant to be. A little bit of 526 over here. I always start with less is more, and then if I need to, I can bring more in. As you can see, it's starting to level out. I'm like, oh, I just want a little bit more clouds here. Bring that 565 underneath. again, just wet brush. Wet brush just allows me to do that final blending. Make sure I don't have any of those harsh edges. I'm quick and fast. You can see I'm just patting my paper really quick. I just want to put on some music when I do this and just sit back and relax. I think we are meeting the criteria of clouds, clouds, and more clouds with this. Now, I did die cut some clouds, and I'm like, I just don't know. I love the watercoloring with the clouds so much. It's probably one of my favorite parts of finishing off a project, is just hitting it with a little bit of these fluffy clouds that I don't know if I want to bring in the die cuts. I think I just want to leave it simple. So I think this is all we're going to do. Quick, fast, simple. And now we have a beautiful card. I'm just gonna pause this for just a minute. I'm gonna go trim this down and get it set up. I will be back in a moment. Some paper and, okay, so I just went and got some paper and I trimmed this down a little bit, and I did forget, sorry, turn on. I did take my Distress Ink Walnut Stain and distress on my edges. I just love to have distress look on the outside edges. I think it just makes your card finished. So one of my favorites. So I'm trying to decide now if I want to go straight with my paper, and this is cut at 6x6 right now, like this, or I kind of liked, I was just kind of playing a little bit, and if I put it off at a diagonal and then trim off the extra, leave just a little bit, we need a little bit more wonky, not straight on, so you get to see a little bit more. You know, I'm kind of liking that. I'm kind of digging that look. So let's do that. So I'm going to come in, barely art glue. Ooh, I like this side. That's the textured side. Let's use the textured. I don't have to go all the way to edges, to the corners, because I'm going to put it on a little wonky diagonal here. So I don't want it to be straight on. I'm not the best at lining things up, so, oh my goodness, my Pear Blossom Press new ruler that helps me line paper up is amazing. Okay, and I'm going to bring in my stamp press. And I like to use this to kind of move that glue around, helps it to bind. So I use this not only on my stamps when I'm stamping my images, but also when I'm gluing things down. I can also use it to help burnish those score lines. Okay, we're gonna live on the wild side. I'm gonna pull in some scissors here and see if I can trim a straight line. I do find that if I'm doing something like this, if I have my long-handed scissors, it works much better to do those straight lines. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? And here we go. So now we have our project for our Craft Roulette submission. We have a square card, which is so outside my comfort zone. We have, oh, let me bring in that tea ruler that I was talking to you about a second ago so I can show you that. It is the Pear Blossom Press tea ruler. For those of you that watch Craft Roulette, you might have seen this on there, but really helps you line things up, make sure everything is even. It also has the thirds here, so I can really see that a third is my sky, a third is my mountain range, and a third down here is my sentiment. So I can see the thirds of my paper, which I absolutely love. I did not plan that. It actually worked out really well, though. And here we go. So square card. We have butterfly colors. So I've got my pops of color in here, the blues, the skies, cloud, cloud, and cloud. We've got that. And the tide is, here is our tide. And I may put a little bit of twine up here at the top to finish it off with a little tie to make sure I really have our tide tied in. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, this is Amanda the Nerdy Crafter. Look out for some more videos to come. Catch you soon. Bye. Decided to come back in with a little bit of that twine to tie it off. I also did bring in a little bit of white paint here. So the Dr. P.H. Martin's white just adds a little bit of texture and white to those mountaintops. So here is our finished card. Thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful day and get this stamp. It is an absolutely breathtaking stamp set. It's Let Freedom Ring. Pick it up. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Honor Valor Pride stamp. So the Honor Valor Pride stamp. Go get yours today. The other one I was mentioning is Let Freedom Ring. It is another set that they came out with, and I have it on my desk somewhere. Let me grab it. It is probably one that I will do another video on in a little bit. It is this one here, Let Freedom Ring. This is a beautiful, beautiful set. All right. Have a wonderful day, great weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.